Hi, you guys. This is Jamie with Whatever's Clever Boutique, and I have the cutest sea-themed tumblers to show you guys today. Now, I will say it was only supposed to be one tumbler, and this was not the tumbler that it was supposed to be. It was actually supposed to be this Betty 2.0 tumbler that we were going to make, but my camera decided to not record the first step of the process on this tumbler. So we went ahead and made two with different variations. So you can use any green alcohol inks that you would like for this step. I have a just plethora here of green inks from Woody's Goodies. And again, you don't have to buy these specific ones. Use any greens that you have. It all will turn out super cute with any alcohol inks. I also am going to put a little bit of Chase Rays Pixie into my epoxy, and then we're also going to use some of our Alumilite white epoxy dye to swirl this all together. So I'm just going to take those inks and I'm just going to apply them all over the tumbler until our white base is almost entirely covered. Once we get all of our inks on our tumbler the way we would like them, we're going to go ahead and mix up our remaining epoxy with a little bit of that white epoxy dye. And we're just going to put this all over. This is a tumbler that we don't want a ton of that white backing to show, but this epoxy additive is going to help swirl all of the greens together. You won't necessarily see the white itself once it's all swirled, but it's just going to help us get more movement on the tumbler. So I heated up my tumbler here quite a bit, and I'm just now going to manipulate this tumbler until the swirl is to my liking. You can keep adding more heat as you see fit. Don't add too much, as you don't want it to all just blend together entirely and you not have any of that color differential swirl look. But again, this is all personal preference. Do it to your liking. And ultimately, these always come out pretty cool in my opinion. So there's no wrong or right here, as long as you don't blend the colors completely together. Once our epoxy is all cured on our tumblers, we're going to go ahead and go in with our stencil vinyl that I went ahead and cut out in some random Seaweed SVGs that I found on Creative Fabrica. And we're just going to apply those to the bottom of the tumbler. The Betty 2.0, I will say this one was much harder to apply to just because of the curve itself. But all you have to do is kind of manipulate it and cut here and there with your X-Acto knife as you need to get it to lay flat. But I went ahead and started applying the decals, not entirely to the bottom. We want quite a bit of this swirl to show, so I went ahead and applied them a little bit higher on the tumbler. Since we got that one done, we're now going to go ahead and move to our 20-ounce tumbler. And this one was a piece of cake because there was no curve to manipulate around, but we're just going to go ahead and apply those all around this tumbler as well. Once we get those all over our tumbler, we're going to go ahead and take our painter's tape and we're going to tape off the bottom part of our tumbler that when we go to spray paint, we want to be sure doesn't coat this part of the tumbler so we can still see that gorgeous swirl. Now I kind of tried to manipulate the painter's tape a bit so it was kind of curved, it wasn't just a blunt straight line, to give it more of a natural sea feel, but you can just tape right across here if you'd like with the straight across the tumbler look. It's totally up to you. Once we get our tumblers all covered with our painter's tape, we're going to go ahead and spray paint the Betty with Splash from Color Shop Paint, and then we're going to spray our 20-ounce with white primer from Color Shop Paint. And for the first tumbler, our Big Betty, we're going to use all of these amazing glitters from Chase Recreations to do kind of a marble effect. And I went ahead and added Rio as well for more of a contrast in our colors. But we're just going to go ahead and take those glitters with our little glitter spoon here and just apply them to the tumbler sporadically in these almost like dot type shapes, if you will, but they're obviously not perfect. We want this to be kind of a blended marble look. So I just take each one of those colors and sporadically apply it to the tumbler. Now, as you notice, I am letting the excess fall off onto the paper with each color, because what I'm going to go ahead and do here once we get all the glitters applied is I'm going to take that excess and I'm going to pour it into a medicine cup, and we're just going to take all of that excess and I'm going to sprinkle it all over the tumbler to cover any of those spots that may still have epoxy showing, and it's going to help better blend these marbled glitters together, if that kind of makes sense. You'll see here once we get that all applied and the excess tapped off that it really blends together better with that blend of excess glitter all over the tumbler as well. But we're kind of creating what is a C-type glitter swirlish kind of effect with the glitters there. But now we're going to go ahead and do the fun part, which is removing our stencils. And I will say I should have used some hot glue so that I could see where those seaweed pieces were. So it took a bit of time here for me to find the spots where the seaweed was, but we eventually got there. Now for our other tumbler, we're gonna do a different method here. We're gonna go ahead and take a bunch of blue alcohol inks and we're gonna pour them into this alcohol ink tray. And we're just gonna go ahead and create almost like a marbled look with the inks instead of the glitters. I'm also going to put some 91% rubbing alcohol into a medicine cup here, and that's going to be our brush cleaner slash blotter that's going to help us blend these together. So I'm going to go ahead and tap off the brush when I first put it in the ink as to kind of lighten the color a bit, and just like we did with the glitter, we're going to go ahead and take the brush and just create kind of imperfect looking blobs with each of those colors. We're going to use the magic of YouTube and go ahead and speed ahead since it is very repetitive. But at this point, now that all of them are applied, I'm going to take my brush that has some rubbing alcohol on it and really try and blend any of those spots that look like they're pretty blunt. And this is totally personal preference, so you can do it as much or as little as you would like. Now we're going to go ahead and add 1 coat of epoxy to each of those tumblers. I have these super cute UV DTFs from Southern Belle Glitter, and we're gonna add these to each of the tumblers. This first tumbler with our alcohol inks, I'm gonna go ahead and add some of these seaweed pieces to the bottom of the tumbler, as well as some seashells. decal for this tumbler I'm going to use says Saltwater heals everything, and this is from Banff Custom Creations. So I'm just going to go ahead and peel that back, cut off a little bit of that backing, and we're going to go ahead and hinge method to make sure it is straight and where we would like it. Then I have these cute little Frisch UV DTF, which are also from Southern Belle Glitter, and I'm just going to cut out a few of those and apply them randomly across the top portion of the tumbler. Now for our Big Betty tumbler, I actually cut out some other seaweed files from Creative Fabrica, and we're gonna layer these over top of our marbled section to give it a really dimensional look. I really wanted to do these tumblers different so that you could see different techniques and different styles. So I hope this is helpful for you guys to see that you can do really anything that your mind decides that it wants to do. And ultimately, they're the same type of themed tumbler, but they're entirely different in the overall look and finished product. So I took this, it's actually a dark green holographic vinyl. You really can't tell from the way this video is angled, but we're gonna apply that color first all the way around the tumbler. And then I have a super pretty green sparkly glitter, also from Tech Wrap Craft, that we're gonna apply as the second layer of vinyl. Now the decal I'm going to use for this is this Stay Salty decal, which I got from Made by Manny and Mal's Digital Collective, and I will go ahead and link that in the description box below. I love her SVGs so much, and then I just went ahead and cut them out in a light green chrome vinyl and this pearl white vinyl that I layered over top, both from Tech Wrap Craft. Now we're gonna go ahead and apply this to our tumbler, which I put the handle on just so I could get a feel for what it will look like at the end. Once we apply that back on, we just wanna be sure that the decal is central in the side so that it looks like it's in the correct spot. we're gonna go in with those same cute little fish, and we're just gonna apply those sporadically throughout the tumbler. Now, when we go in with our final coats, we're going to do 2 final coats. On the Big Betty, I decided to add this Fizz shape glitter, as well as this Make It Blue glitter from B&B Glitter. And then I have no idea where this other one was from, but they looked like cute bubbles. So I went ahead and picked out the pieces that looked like they were kind of blue and just sprinkled those in that first coat of epoxy. And once that cured, I went in with the second coat of epoxy, and then our tumbler is finished. And for the 20 ounce, it was just 2 straight coats of epoxy. I didn't add any glitter, just so that we could have these be even a little more different. And here's our finished result for our 20 ounce with all of the different alcohol inks. I just love this tumbler so much. I will say it is hard for me to not have glitter on a tumbler, but it is so pretty and it just turned out beyond what my expectations could have predicted. So I hope you guys love it just as much as I do. And now for our Betty. Once that was cured, I put that handle back on and then that lid, and here is how this one turned out. I just love the little subtle accents of those quote-unquote bubble shaped glitters. This turned out just like the other one. I, again, couldn't have imagined it being as cute and fun as it is. So if you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to ask, and I will see you guys again soon.